Hello everyone and welcome back to Willow Creek, and today we are going to be expanding the city by building a suburban development in this area above the park over here. So to start off, we're just going to parallel the highway to build a frontage road because this highway is going to go from controlled access to limited access, which means we're just going to put some intersections here to transition to the couplet. And then we're going to replace the highway with a suburban street and main road builder. Now we're just going to extend this road out a little more, and then we're going to start building out the neighborhood with the suburban street again. And for this, I'm just going to make what's called an organic grid, which is you just sort of build out some roads, and yeah, that's sort of it. Like, it's sort of organized, but not really. And yeah, this usually takes me a while just to like find logical ways to fill things in, and also just trying to get things to be at 90-degree angles, which you see a lot in these areas. I purchased more map tiles to expand the neighborhood, so we're just extending the frontage road out. And then we're just going to continue our organic grid throughout this area. Actually, that area looks too standardized, so we're just going to cut that off a little bit and then make another connection into here. Now we're just going to make another road in here just to fill in that gap, and then this one isn't going to go too far because in suburbs you don't usually see a lot of connectivity. So this road's just going to sort of end here. And the reason for the strange roads is just to keep all the traffic in the suburbs to just being local traffic so that no one's trying to go through. And we're just going to keep expanding this out a little bit. Actually, I realize that this area doesn't really look good, so I'm changing the layout a little bit. Now we're going to make a road that you see a lot in suburbs where the lanes tend to be highway lanes, and there are sometimes sidewalks, which we're just putting them here so that it works with the zoning grid. And we're going to set the speed limit to 45 miles an hour. And you do see these a lot in some like suburban areas. And we're just going to name this 2-lane suburban road, if I can type that in. Suburban road, there we go. And we're just going to build this in a really straight line out here. It doesn't really matter right now. And then just connect the frontage road to it. You do usually see those roads in a straight line. Now we're actually going to change this little suburban road here into another, suburban street here into another one of those suburban roads that I just made. And to do that, we're just going to sever some connections because of road hierarchy, which usually helps to speed up traffic until it doesn't, basically. Because once you have higher volumes of traffic, then if one road's congested, that's sort of just the road you're stuck on. And now we're just going to replace that with the suburban road. We're just going to finish out this neighborhood over here. And then we're going to fix this intersection using another super node. And we're just going to make a pretty normal intersection here. We're going to add some turning lanes though, and this is just going to be a pretty standard signalized intersection, nothing special going on here. Pretty much on par with what you'd see normally. And then over here, we're actually going to do what's called an R-cut, which is where we're going to allow everyone on the highway to go in all directions, but the people on the smaller roads are actually only going to be able to turn right. And now we're going to build the U-turn part here. And as you can see, I've shifted the highway over to make that possible. And then we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to build our divided suburban street, and that's just going to help us make our strip mall that we're going to build here, because We need some commercial in the city anyway, so. And also no suburb is complete without one of these. And we're actually going to redo the U-turn so that it can become a left turn ramp in here. And then we're just going to build out the suburban street. In hindsight, that did sever the U-turn movement. I ended up fixing that off camera. And then we're just going to build our parking lot, which is really just going to be a bunch of rows of parking. It's nothing too special. And here we're just going to put asphalt surfaces for all of these. And now we're done, and we can just build our we now build our street lamps. Which, since these are pretty tall, I'm just gonna have these set pretty far apart from each other. Just since it doesn't really make sense for them to be only like 20 meters apart. And they're also gonna be every other gap. Now we're just gonna add some landscaping in here to make it look a little nicer. Which you do see that sometimes in these newer commercial developments. Not that many of these are built nowadays, and this actually looks pretty good. Yeah, not many of these are built nowadays. It's more leaning towards mixed use, which is nice. Usually you'd see the landscaping in like renovations of pre-existing strip malls. And now we're just going to put some commercial in here. And zoning toolkit isn't working, so we have to use the old path method of doing things, which is kind of annoying. And now we're going to build a small, just office park. Nothing really interesting going on here. We're just going to build out some more suburban streets. And then just zone in some office. And this parking lot is going to be a little simpler because office parks usually don't look the nicest. This one actually isn't going to get any landscaping other than some light poles. And this one I went with the commercial ones just since they're smaller and this just isn't that big of a parking lot. And we're just going to put them on all the rows here. And now we're just going to add some oak trees, just make this area look a little nicer, I guess. And here I actually have an idea. So we're going to build the road down, and then we're just going to extend this out, and then up, and then just get rid of the zoning there. And then we're just going to build a low-rent housing development, because sometimes in these developments you'll see apartment complexes. It's not too common, but you do see them occasionally. So now we're just adding the parking for that and just copy-pasting what we did with the first parking lot. And then now we're going to give them a playground and also a medical clinic because coverage is pretty bad. Now we're going to add just another suburban street and more parking because, of course. And the people really don't want any more commercial now, which is kind of annoying. So that's why I'm just replacing a whole ton of commercial zoning with this. Now we're just going to finish this out, more copy-pasting really. And now we are going to build another neighborhood adjacent to the strip mall because this whole area was unused and it just looked kind of wrong. This one, it's just more organic grid. Nothing too interesting is going on here. I did make some longer roads, but it wasn't as like it's I guess the land use is a little bit worse just since there's going to be some more gaps here. Except for right here where I think we're actually going to put some townhomes. So now back in the first neighborhood, we're going to build just a little park for people to play in. We're going to add a large playground, a tennis court, and a dog park over there. And we can actually fit a passage park in here. So we're going to add that in there, and I think that adds a little bit to that. And we're just going to add a grass surface to make a field, if that will let me finish it. Please work. Thank you. Okay. And then we're just going to move the dog park in here because I think that other area is just going to be housing. And now we're going to just start zoning out these neighborhoods. And this took a really long time. So I've spared you that. You can see it's just like 1 unit of spacing between lots, nothing too interesting. Now I'm going to add a mix of deciduous and evergreen trees to the whole neighborhood. It's 65% strength. We're doing deciduous first because you just see a little more of that around the map. And now we're going to add just some oak trees along the side of the highway. Just to act as a noise buffer, because you couldn't build a neighborhood like this without any landscaping in between. And now we're just going to add a bunch of arrows to the parking lots. Nothing too interesting here. It's just arrows. And now that we're done with that, we're just adding some stains because this thing can't look brand new. And also, just without the stains, everything looks way too clean. And this is asphalt, so that it isn't that consistent of a color, anyways. And we're just gonna do this through all the parking lots, and then we're gonna add just some damage decals all over the place. Hopefully, give this a little more of like just make this look a little older. Now we're gonna add a school because our education system is absolutely terrible. And we're going to add some upgrades to it right away because we need them. And we're also going to add just a little neighborhood over here because there's a weird gap between the rest of the neighborhood and the water. So this isn't really a neighborhood, it's just a little offshoot. And that curve looks really bad. Yeah, we're just going to de-zone stuff. Zoning toolkit worked again. Oh, wow, that actually worked. Usually that just does 2 houses. And yeah, we're just going to zone in houses. I'm not sure how to zone these right now. Let's just do this. It should be fine. And we're just going to see if that one works over there too. No? 2 houses again? What if we add one more? No? Alright, we're just going to not do that. And over here back at the park, we're going to add some nice goals. Just give a little like soccer field to the kids. Just give this a little more personality. And also we're going to add just a little bit of parking, even though the street already has that. And we're done here, finally. There's 2 more name me districts plus the park, so please suggest some names in the comments. And the shopping center is going to be whatever name me 3 is. And just as a comparison, here's what the build looked like before this episode, and here's what it looks like now. So thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next episode.